Hello Year 12 and welcome to your first video that you're going to watch at home and make notes about the key points. This will then help you with the information that we go through in the next lesson. You may need to watch the video more than once to learn everything within it. So it might be worth watching it once, twice or maybe even 3 times to make sure that you get as many notes as possible from the video. So, today we're thinking about practical, ethical and theoretical issues in sociology. I'm going to start with what potential issues can you see with Little Miss Sociology's research. So, Little Miss Sociology wants to research how teachers talk to students and how the way they communicate differs based upon the teacher's perceptions of student abilities. She intends to interview teachers about the students in their class before using non-participant observation to watch the teacher teach the class, noting down what the teacher says to different students. So all sociologists want to gather really good information. And when they're doing that, and when they're planning their research, they've got to think about the PETs, the practical, ethical and theoretical issues associated with this. So a practical issue is something like, how do you gain access into classrooms? Because nobody can just walk off the street and walk into a lesson. So that's the first thing. So how do you gain your sample? How do you gain access to the people that you want to research? Secondly, good research is ethical. And what that means is that it's honest and open, that it's legal, that it maintains privacy and confidentiality, and it doesn't cause harm. So Little Miss Sociology's research here is good because the teacher knows that they're being observed because they've already been interviewed beforehand. And finally, the research method that the sociologist chooses, such as interviews or non-participant observations, will be determined by their theoretical perspective. And later on in this video, we'll try and start to think about what exactly that means. So, another way that sociologists look at the quality of their research is by thinking about validity and reliability. Validity is about how true a social picture does the research give. And reliability is about the research being able to be replicated with similar results being produced. So here we've got 2 different examples of research. So the first one, we're all given an intelligence test every day this week. Our results were very consistent. Each of us gained the same score every time we took the test. This would be very reliable. This means that it's replicated, it's done time and time again, and it gets the same results. This then means that the other one is valid. It gives us a true social picture, a description with lots of rich detail about what exactly is happening in society. So, if we think about Little Miss Sociology's research and whether or not this is good, what we could say is that it's very valid because she's actually seeing what's happening in classrooms and she's talking to people and building up a relationship with the teachers to try and get them to open up. However, it's not very reliable because this is one person's perceptions, Little Miss Sociology's perceptions of what's happening, and we can also say that it's not very representative because what one teacher does might not be true of all teachers. So just to revise those keywords again, we've got reliability, validity and representativeness. So reliability is all about the researcher producing the same results every time that they do the research. Validity is about it reflecting what's really happening in society, so gaining a true social picture. And representativeness is about the conclusions drawn from the research that can be applied to the whole target population. So if we did some research about Year 11s in our school, if our results were representative, that would mean that they would be true of all Year 11s in every school across the country. So to revisit the PETs again. PETs is practical issues such as time, money, getting funding, deciding who you're going to research. Ethical issues are related to being honest and open with research participants, maintaining their privacy and confidentiality, not causing any physical or psychological harm to research participants, and also making sure that everything that is done is within the bounds of the law. Theoretical is about the type of sociologists that they are, and then also what research methods they will prefer as a consequence. So we'll take a little bit of a look now at the ethics of sociological research. So, good research is honest and open. It maintains privacy and confidentiality. It doesn't cause physical or psychological harm and is legal. Not all sociology, though, follows these rules. So Venkatesh, in a famous study known as gang leader for a day, approached a gang in Chicago to ask them about their lives. He was taken hostage by the gang at first, who thought that he was a member of a rival Mexican gang. After they released him, Venkatesh returned the next day with some beer and chatted to the gang, and for the next 3 years they allowed him to observe their daily lives. Venkatesh observed the gang and was trusted enough to participate in the daily life of the gang. He particularly got on well with JT, who was the gang leader. In that 3-year period, Venkatesh hung around with criminal drug dealers and colluded in gang violence, once actively taking part in the beating up of a boyfriend of an abused teen. What we could say about this research is that, although it's honest and open because they've given him permission, and he also protected their anonymity by using pseudonyms such as JT, so pseudonym is the not real name, a sort of given name to protect their identity. On the flip side, he took part in criminal activities and he also caused physical harm when he beat somebody up as part of the gang. Loud Humphrey's study, which is known as the tea room trade, impersonal sex in public places, is not that ethical. Humphrey studied casual sex between gay men in public bathrooms in the USA. His main method of research was observation. He pretended to be a voyeur lookout. So a voyeur doesn't join in the sexual activities that are happening, but is supposed to get pleasure from watching the activities of others and acts as a lookout for the police. So Humphreys here is encouraging illegal behaviour, and also, as he's pretending, he's not being honest and open with his research participants. However, Humphreys went further than this. He gathered information about the gay men participating in such practices by visiting their homes, pretending to be conducting a survey about health. So again, he lied to the research participants about his research process. So the final part of PETS, once we've looked at the practical, once we've looked at the ethical, is the theoretical. So in sociologists, we have 2 types of sociologists, and they both prefer different types of research. Positivists prefer quantitative data. Quantitative data is data that's expressed in numerical forms. And they seek to establish patterns in human behaviour because they believe that sociology is a science. Interpretivists, on the other hand, prefer qualitative data. So they seek to understand the meanings behind the actions of people. So they don't think that sociology is a science. Qualitative data is expressed in sort of words. So they prefer things like unstructured interviews. Sorry, they're just going to have to ignore the bell 1 second. So positivists like research that is numerical. That's not a very good spelling of numerical, I'm sorry. So they like things like statistics. Stats. On the flip side, interpretivists like literary or narrative data. I always think of it as letters because qualitative has a L in it and quantitative, which is numbers, has a N in it. So they prefer trying to find out why people do what they do. So either watching people or having long conversations with people about their. So if we look at these 2 statements again, one of them we could say is an example of interpretivism, and the other we could say is an example of positivism. This one is the positivism one, because the data is in a numerical format, so we get the same score every time. This one, I'll just put a per there for positivism, this one is interpretivism, because it's in word format. It's someone giving rich social detail about their feelings, and it's about talking through. So if we think about it, positivists like reliable data, and interpretivists like valid data. So if you need to watch this video again, please do so, and make sure that you know everything within it before our next lesson. So good luck, and I'll see you next time.